We know there are thousands of games available on PC, but finding the best game that is worth your time is an extremely difficult task, especially when it comes to free-to-play games. But in this video, I'm going to bring you guys a very helpful guide going through 15 different game genres and recommending some of the best free games that you can pick up right now under each category. And all of them going to be my personal recommendations, the games that I've played and reviewed on my channel. And also everything here is completely free to play. You can download them on Steam and also some games on Epic Games Store. So let's jump in and talk all about it, starting with action adventure games. Alright, starting with some of the single-player action-adventure games, we got a game called Postmouse. This is a very cool little single-player story game where you play as a mouse whose job is to deliver mails. Throughout the story, you will interact with different characters, a lot of exploration, and also some environmental puzzles you have to solve. Pretty short and sweet game you can complete within few hours. Aviators is a very awesome educational adventure game where you play as a Polish air personnel in the World War II. There's a little bit of exploration, puzzle solving, and also a bunch of cool airborne combat sequences. Definitely a nice game to check out right now. Next up, we got a couple of games on Steam right now having overwhelmingly positive reviews. First one is a game called Island Saver. It's a very cute little colorful adventure game, and your job is to clean these beaches using your trusty trash blaster. High entropy challenges is another very cool immersive sim style of a game, packed with some combat sequences, challenges, different enemy variants you have to face throughout the story. Pretty cool game to check out right now. And also we got Zenless Zone Zero. This is more like an action RPG style of a game rather than a typical adventure game, but I feel like it's still worth mentioning since the game is very popular. But remember, it's only available on Epic Games Store. And moving on to some of the multiplayer games, we got a pretty popular one, and that is Sky Children of Light. It's a very peaceful, cozy game, and it's all about connecting with other people and explore this beautifully animated kingdom. It's a pretty popular game on mobile and does support cross-platform multiplayer. Alright, next up we got Battle Royale games, arguably one of the most popular genres out there, and we got so many options. Obviously, you cannot go wrong with the most popular choices. The popular three: PUBG, Apex, and Fortnite. And if you're a fan of Call of Duty, you can always try out Call of Duty Warzone. Naraka Blade Point is a very popular battle royale game on Steam, and it's heavy focus on the fast-paced hand-to-hand melee combat and martial art techniques. If you're looking for something very unique, you can try out this brand new battle royale game that just got released on Steam, and that is called Supervive. And this game is kind of a battle royale and a MOBA kind of mashed into together with different superheroes that you can select. You can jump, glide, shoot, punch, and bounce your way, and ultimately try to survive at the end. Pretty popular game right now, definitely worth checking it out. And if you're someone who having a very low-end PC or a laptop, you can always try out games like Bloodstrike, Combat Masters, and also Farlight 84 runs pretty well on a low-end PC. If you're looking for something more casual and 2D, you can try out a game like Super Animal Royale. And also I gotta mention a few other battle royale games that right now having very low play count but still worth mentioning. First one is the My Hero Ultra Rumble, a pretty cool hero-based battle royale game. And also TAPG, also known as Totally Accurate Battleground, a physics-based goofy battle royale game, extremely fun to play. And finally, Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt. Definitely not one of those popular battle royale games out there, but still worth mentioning and worth playing in 2024. Next up, we got casual games, pretty popular category on Steam, and we got games like Stumble Guys, a very popular casual platformer style of a game that is all about surviving through this obstacle course, and it's super fun to play with your friends. And if you don't want to play Stumble Guys, you can always try out Fall Guys. It's also very fun, very popular, but remember the game is only available on Epic Games Store nowadays. 1v1.lol is another pretty fun browser-based third-person shooter, and the game got recently released on Steam. And it's kind of like the low-budget version of Fortnite with cool gunplay, building mechanics, and a very smaller scale battle royale mode. And arguably one of my favorite casual games on Steam right now is Goose Goose Duck. This is kind of like the social deduction style of a game, very similar to Among Us, but completely free to play and packed with some amazing game modes, maps, and also proximity voice chat. Next up, we got Crab Game, awesome party game to play right now, very popular and very fun to play with your friends. And the game is inspired from the popular TV show Squid Game, and you will find those fun game modes like Red Light, Green Light, King of the Hill, and some very fun platforming levels. And if you got some friends to play with you, this is an awesome party game to check out right now. Alright, moving on, next up we got survival games. Honestly, when it comes to free survival games, we don't really have a lot of good options, but this year we got a pretty big one, and that is Once Human. It's a massive open world post-apocalyptic survival game with a very unique backstory and extremely popular right now on Steam. Another game game that is very popular right now is a game called StarCraft X. This is another post-apocalyptic open-world survival game, but I would say it's more like a RPG style of a game rather than a typical survival game. And if you're a fan of games like Stalker, this is an awesome game to check out right now. And also next up, we got a couple of more older but very well established free survival games on Steam. First one is the Will to Live Online, and the next one is called Stay Out. Both games are relatively popular on Steam, but somewhat of an older titles, but still worth mentioning in 2024. Next up, we got another popular survival game that absolutely need no introduction, and that is Unturned. And this is a post-apocalyptic zombie survival style of a game, but still got some core survival mechanics like hunting, gathering resources, farming, crafting and stuff. And talking about the games that can run on a low-end PC, we got a pretty fun casual survival game called Muck. I know most of you guys already heard about this game, already played this game. It's a very easy, beginner-friendly survival game to pick up and play with your friends. Alright, next up we got first-person shooters, probably the most popular game category on Steam. Honestly, we got 100 plus options, but these are some of the games that is worth playing right now. And Finals is arguably one of the best free FPS games you can play right now on Steam, with incredible destruction, great gameplay, and also fun game modes including competitive and casual modes. And a brand new first-person shooter, Delta Force, just came out on Steam a couple of days ago, and it is very popular right now. So if you're a fan of large-scale battlefield style of game modes with great gunplay, Delta Force is arguably the best option you get right now. And obviously you cannot go wrong with the most popular competitive games like Counter-Strike 2, Valorant or Overwatch 2. No introduction needed, you're probably already playing these games right now. Next up we got Halo Infinite, a game that had lots of up and down since launch, and during the last year or so they had a lot of changes to the game, new maps, classic game modes, and I would say it's very much fun to play in 2024. If you're a fan of World War II first-person shooters, you cannot go wrong with Enlisted, and the game recently got a massive boost of player count, and right now it's very popular on Steam. And of course, if you have a potato PC, you cannot play most of these options, but we got pretty cool games like Blood Strike, Battle Teams 2 and Combat Masters, and all three games are pretty fun to play and also very well optimized for low-end PCs. Polygon is a pretty fun tactical indie first-person shooter, kind of like the low-budget version of a Battlefield game with beautiful polygon graphics and fun gunplay. Next up we got a couple of popular but older games. We got games like Team Fortress 2 and Paladins. Both are arena style hero shooters if you're into that. And if you're a fan of games like Valorant but looking for something more unique, definitely go ahead and check out the game called Spectre Divide. It's a 5v5 tactical shooter with a very unique mechanic called duality. And finally, I have to mention the Operation Harsh Doorstop, and this game is specially made for people who like super hardcore tactical military simulation style of games. And overall it's more like a sandbox style of a shooter with there's a lot of community made maps, game modes and fun stuff you can do in the game. Definitely check out the game right now if you're into simulation style shooters. And not everybody like to play first person shooter games, sometimes they like to see their character in game. So next up we got third person shooters, and one of the best tactical third person shooters out there, it's a game called Caliber. It's a squad based third person tactical shooter, but I would say it's very underrated. But the game is packed with some amazing game modes, maps and a huge roster of operators, and also a very fun co-op mode where you can play with your friends. And next up we got a brand new game that just got released on Steam, and it is called Strinova. It is a 5v5 third person tactical shooter with a very unique twist where you can switch between both 2D and 3D. And one of the biggest free-to-play launches that happened in 2024 had to be the release of Marvel Rivals. The game just got released a couple of days ago, and right now having more than 429,000 people playing. So it's a third person hero shooter packed with awesome characters from the Marvel universe. So if you're a fan of that, definitely worth checking out right now. And obviously we got some popular choices like Warframe, still one of the best co-op games you can play right now on Steam. And finally we cannot forget about the games like Vigor, a brand new extraction shooter just got released on Steam, and also Raw Company, a very well established third person tactical shooter. Alright, we are moving on to MMORPGs, but I have to say, man, I'm not the best person to talk about these games because I rarely play any MMORPGs, but still got some popular options like Path of Exile, and the Path of Exile 2 just got released onto early access, so it's coming up pretty soon. And also we got a pretty big one this year, and that is Throne and Liberty, a massive open world RPG game. And other than that, we got some popular options like Tower of Fantasy, Albion Online, a brand new game called Brighter Shores, and also we cannot forget about the games like Guild Wars 2 and Star Wars Old Republic. Alright, when it comes to horror games, we got a pretty solid collection of free games out there, starting with a game called SCP Secret Laboratory, awesome multiplayer horror game to check out right now. And talking about multiplayer games, we also got Deceit 1 and Deceit 2. Both games are fun multiplayer social deduction style of games, and both of them are free to play. And also we got Poppy Playtime, a single player horror game where you explore this dark toys factory. And also we got the multiplayer version of this game called Project Playtime, awesome party game to play with your friends. Indigo Part Chapter Chapter 1 is another pretty new one, but it's kind of like the demo version for their upcoming game, so the experience is pretty limited here. And finally, we got a couple of older titles. First one is the No More Room in Hell, a classic zombie survival horror style of a game, and Dark Deception, a story-driven first-person horror maze game. Alright, moving on to simulation games, and they got their own subgenres, but I'm gonna go with some of the more popular choices here, and starting with Sims 4, a classic free-to-play social kind of like a live simulation style of a game. So if you're into that, go check the game out. If you're into fishing, you cannot go wrong with games like Russian Fishing 4 and Fishing Planet. Palia is another pretty new free-to-play kind of like a cozy simulation style of a game with some survival and crafting elements. And one of the most popular simulation game to came out this year is the game called Supermarket Together. The game is all about managing your own little supermarket. You can definitely play the game solo, but it's much more fun to play in co-op with your friends. If you're into soccer, we got Soccer Manager 2025, a popular game on mobile and right now relatively popular on Steam as well. So if you're into vehicular combat and simulation style of games, Digital Combat Simulator World is absolutely one of the best on out there, but you need a super demanding PC to play this one. And other than that, we also get games like War Thunder and World of Tanks. I don't know these games are categorized as simulation games, but overall they are very popular and gives you a very immersive experience. Alright, next up we got co-op games, but any game can be fun if you got friends to play with, but these are especially my favorite co-op games. First up we got One Armed Robber, a very fun two-player co-op game where you're pulling off different heists, but catch is you can only use one of your hand. And also we got One Armed Cook, the game made by the same developers, but this is a very fun, chaotic and hilarious cooking game. Both of these games are super fun and absolutely worth checking it out. And also we got a pretty underrated co-op game called Microworks. I don't know how many of you guys actually heard about this game, but it's a really fun party game to play with your friends, packed with some amazing maps, game modes and variety of activities you can do. And also we got a super fun and unique racing game called Disney Speedstorm. If you're into games like Mario Kart, you're gonna have absolutely fun with this one. It's a very fun party game to play with your friends or family when you have a free time, and the game also does support split screen multiplayer. If you're into like sci-fi top-down shooters, Alien Swamp Reactor Drop is an awesome co-op game to check out right now. And finally we got Sneak Out, another pretty unpopular game, but it's another awesome party game to play with up to 6 of your friends. Next up we got strategy games, and this strategy, real-time strategy style of games may not be for everyone, but we still got some pretty solid options, starting with new games like Stormgate just came out on Steam, still on early access, but the game featuring a lot of competitive 1v1, 3-person co-op and also a dedicated 3v3 mode. Pretty cool strategy game to check out right now. Omega Strikers is another super cool 3v3 strategy based sports game, and also we get some popular options like Summoner's War and Emergency. Both games are really awesome strategy games. And if you're into more like card battleless style of games, you also got games like Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel and also Marvel Snap. Alright, next up we are moving on to racing games, and we got some relatively popular free options out there, starting with some brand new super realistic racing simulation style of games like Rennsport. The game just came out on Steam and still on open beta. Race Room Racing Experience is another pretty well established simulation style of a racing game, and both of these games are very immersive experiences. So to get the best out of this, you definitely need to have a racing wheel or at least a controller, something you have to keep in mind. If you're looking for something more competitive and easy to run, you can always try out popular games like Trackmania. Recently got a Steam release, and it's an awesome high-speed racing game to play both single player and also co-op with friends. If you're in for more of a casual racing experience, you can always try out new games like Kart Rider Drift and also Disney Speedstorm. Both games are fun, casual party game to play with friends or family. Alright, next up we got a couple of underrated games. These are more like vehicular destruction style of game rather than typical racing experiences. But we got new games like Warhammer 40k Speed Freak just released in 2024, a really awesome super fast combat racing game. And also we cannot forget about games like Crossout, a very well established free-to-play racing slash battle royale style of a destruction based game. Both games are really cool, worth checking out right now. Alright, next up we are moving on to platformers, including both 2D and 3D platformers. Honestly, we don't really have a lot of good options out there, but we got popular games like Brawlhalla, everybody's favorite platform fighter game, including vast range of characters with variety of abilities, and also a good collection of arenas, game modes for both casual and competitive play. And Chippy A Short Adventure is another pretty awesome single-player, pixelated 3D platformer with a beautiful story, and the soundtrack is also pretty amazing in this game. But unfortunately, it's a very short experience. You can complete the game within a couple of hours. And also we got a pretty highly rated game on Steam, a very popular one, and that is Expander Bros. Awesome destruction based action platformer shooter. If you're looking for more like a 3D platformer style of a game with a beautiful story, you cannot go wrong with games like Try Again, a pretty new game on Steam and a really awesome one too. Absolutely worth checking out if you're into platformer games. Alright, next up we are moving on to sports game, but honestly we don't really have a lot of good options. But in 2024 we got some pretty solid games, and a couple of days ago we got a brand new football game called UFL. Right now it is only available on console. The PC version, the PC release will be coming out pretty soon. And talking about another pretty solid option, we got eFootball. Both of these games are not as comprehensive as something like EAFC, but you don't really have to pay the $70. Both games are awesome free-to-play alternatives. And also we recently got a game called Maximum Football. This is more like an American football style of game with a lot of strategies, team management, and overall more like a simulation style of a game. Another pretty solid option that you can try out right now is a game called MLB Rivals. So if you're into games like baseball, this is a very solid free-to-play alternative. If you're in for more like a casual arcade experience, you cannot go wrong with games like Slapshot Rebound. Awesome physics-based multiplayer ice hockey game. Overall, a very fun game to play with your friends. Alright, finally we are moving on to esports and competitive style of games, and most of these games are very much popular and don't need a lot of explanation, especially if you're into 5v5 tactical first-person shooter experience. We got two popular big ones, Counter-Strike 2 and Valorant. And also if you're into arena style hero-based shooters, we got games like Overwatch 2, Marvel Rivals, and Paladins. And also if you're into MOBAs, we got the two popular big ones, and that is Dota 2 and League of Legends. Rocket League is also a very popular option and very much playable both casually and competitively, but remember it's right now only available on Epic Games Store. And finally I have to mention the games like Brawlhalla is a very solid competitive game if you're into platformer fighters, and Teamfight Tactics is another pretty solid free-to-play option out there. Well, that's pretty much wrap up today's video guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and found some cool popular free-to-play games under each category. And let me know down below what is your favorite genre of games. I personally love playing shooter games and battle royales. And if you got any game suggestions that is worth mentioning, let me know down below in the comment section. As always guys, if you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned to the channel as we cover pretty much anything related to free-to-play games. I'll catch you guys soon in the next one. Stay safe.